Good morning. You know, I used to be in the laundry pressing business. I got out of it because, well, operations were reasonably smooth. Business growth was just flat. I'm not here to talk to you about that today. No, what I want to talk about today, of all things, is institutions. What do I mean by that? You know what? It's a beautiful day outside. Why don't we go for a walk and I'll show you what I mean in the neighborhood where I live. So just in my own little corner of the world, my own neighborhood, there's a great institution, which is the neighborhood school. There are kids playing in the schoolyard right now, whom I'm sure their parents wouldn't be thrilled about me posting images of them, so I am not going to get shots of the school right now, but it's 2 doors down from my house, and it's been there as long as anybody can remember. My kids have grown up going there, and it's an institution. What do I mean by an institution? I think the idea with an institution is that it is an organization or an entity that provides a sense of permanence. It transcends changes of people, changes of season, the passage of time. Right there, the Pleasant Cafe. That's an institution for this neighborhood. They've been making really, really good bar pizza for longer than I've been alive, and I got I don't know, 7 or 8 of their pizzas for my son's birthday party one year, and somebody walked in, smelled the pizza and said, "Hey, it smells like Roslindale in your house." That's an institution. It's also served as a location for movies. If you've seen The Holdovers, this got used as an interior scene for that movie. But the Pleasant Cafe is very much the definition of an institution. Now, I work in the arts, and arts institutions can be interesting because everybody wants to name ensembles after the founder. Well, that's great and all, but what happens when the founder retires or something else happens, passes on, what have you? You know, kind of hard for such an organization to really have a sense of permanence. The organization I work for very deliberately made the choice not to name itself after its founder because they wanted to build an institution, something that would transcend the lifespan of the people who built it. In the musical Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda puts the words in Alexander Hamilton's mouth, "I want to build something that's going to outlive me." That's an institution. Coming up on what I hope winds up being a Roslindale institution. This is one of those cases where, because it's named for the founder, we'll see what happens when things change. That said, Tony's Market is as close as you can get to being an institution despite being named for the founder. Tony is an Italian-born gentleman who has operated his deli and butcher shop, gosh, since the 60s, 70s, something like that. Still going, he still operates it. This is not the original location. It was originally further down on the square. It moved here, I don't know, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. But still going strong. I get my Christmas roast there, I get beef there, I get all kinds of things there. Much like the Pleasant Cafe, it really contributes something fundamental to the sense of the neighborhood, to its flavor. No pun intended. Something fundamental about institutions is a public nature, I'd say. Businesses are open to the public. The school that I started off with, that's a public school. Those two businesses, the Pleasant Cafe and Tony's, definitely contribute some kind of a sense of permanence to the neighborhood. It's like if you live in Roslindale, you know you can get good pizza at Pleasant, and that you've been able to for 50, 60 years. You know you can get all kinds of good meat and other things like cannoli and lasagna and what have you at Tony's, and there's been a security in that for the last 50, 60 years. So those are businesses that contribute some kind of a sense of permanence and security to the flavor of the neighborhood. Well, the square itself, we've got a public park, and this space gets used for all kinds of public functions over the course of the year. There's a farmer's market that meets here during the summer. There are concerts that happen here. There's a big tree lighting that happens here. The square itself is an institution, kind of the center of town, where you have businesses that are accessible to everybody and provide important services, important kind of central functions. There's a grocery store, there are cafes, there are banks, and then also importantly, what is personally one of my favorite kinds of public institutions, the public library. That's the Roslindale branch of the Boston Public Library System. And you've had library services in Roslindale going back to the 1860s. This location started housing the branch in, I think it's 1961. So, there are kids now whose grandparents would have attended the opening for this branch. So it's transcended generations. That's very much the definition of an institution, that this is a public resource that everybody benefits from, that lasts over the years, across generations, across people, across various conditions. And walk down to the other side of the park. Here we've got a couple more. We've got the Roslindale Community Center, which serves all kinds of functions. The building houses the DMV and the Boys and Girls Club is there. There are a number of other functions that the space serves for the public. And then right next door, you have another great example of a public institution, this one having the benefit of being enshrined in the US Constitution, the post office. And that's, I gotta say, I use that branch a lot, and I'm so glad it's there. All right, just walking around the corner a little bit, we get to the Roslindale commuter rail station, but then right across the street from there, you have another kind of public institution, St. Ignatius Greek Orthodox Church. very, very much a permanent fixture of Roslindale and a big contributor to its flavor. It's been there since the 70s, I believe. It was originally a furniture warehouse, and then they converted it into a church with the bell tower, transepts, dome, and all of that. As a public institution, there's a lot that it does to contribute back to the community beyond simply functioning as a church. So St. Nectarios, they do an annual Greek festival, of course, that contributes a lot to the neighborhood. They use their hall as a polling place. They do a number of things. Roslindale has a history of housing a lot of Greek Americans, and it's fundamental to the flavor of the neighborhood. None of this is to say that institutions can't change, that they can't grow, that they can't shrink, that they might not develop problems. But the point of the matter is that institutions are an important part of how we maintain continuity across changes that might otherwise unsettle us and disrupt us and destabilize us. They're important to the stability of our culture overall. And to the extent that that's the case, and especially in the case of institutions like the U.S. Postal Service, which, hey, happen to be enshrined in the Constitution, they're important to defend and shore up. What are some institutions where you live? What are some institutions you depend on? What are some institutions that make your neighborhood what it is, or your city, or your state, or your country? And there are all kinds of institutions. There are artistic institutions. There are cultural institutions. There are educational institutions. There are political institutions. So I would love to hear more from you. You can leave comments on the video. You can like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe to my Patreon. Links are all below. And now I've got to get back to it. I'm actually working on assembling a couch right now. And this morning, my wife asked me, "So how's it going?" And I said, "Well, so far so good." I'll see you next time.